Hi, I'm Stu Kagan, and welcome to Born Scrappy, the podcast for scrap metal exporters and traders. Join me in conversation with some of the most experienced traders and operators that have helped shape this incredible industry. In today's episode, we're joined by Murat Bayram. Murat is one of the most passionate people I've met in the metal recycling world. He has his master's degree in finance, and he leads the non-ferrous business at industry giant European Metal Recyclers, EMR. Get ready to listen to the passion of the man as he shares with us all some great lessons from his journey. But first, intro. Murat, welcome to Born Scrappy. So amazingly happy to have you with us here today.
Yeah, moin from Hamburg. We say moin at every time of the day. I'm not sure how late it is in New Zealand. You said it's already evening, right?
It is.
Yeah, moin from my side. Hi.
Oh, so good to have you here, mate. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, it is evening for us. It's early morning for you, but I guess this is how global trade works in general, right? We speak to everybody around the world and we have to learn the time zones very quickly, don't we?
That's very true. That's very, especially when you're traveling. Yeah, especially when
Yeah.
you're traveling. And you're waking up in a time zone. You're not sure. Your belly feeling says you should have breakfast, but the customer says you go out for dinner. So
And those are normally extended dinners that aren't just a quick hour. They can often go on for 3 or 4 hours, sometimes into the morning too.
That's a very good one. Yeah, I'm really, let's say that way, surprised that, as I said to you, Stu, that you moved to New Zealand. As far as I learned, that you moved to New Zealand without any visit before, right? I mean, like you just went there, right?
Yeah, my wife and I decided to move after we had our first child. We decided to leave South Africa and everything landed on New Zealand. Everything that we wanted was all about safety, opportunity for our children, as well as just an amazing upbringing for them and a great lifestyle. And the outdoor lifestyle is just magnificent here. So we're very happy in New Zealand. But yeah, we arrived never having visited. And we didn't know anybody either in the country. So it was entertaining, to say the least.
Yeah, you were jumping into the water. I know it's your podcast, but I have to tell you this too. When I read your link in LinkedIn, the first word it comes father. This is the most important for you. And that shows me you're absolutely on the right journey. And then you describe the journey of your grandfather. It's because you are originally from Europe, as far as I understood, right?
Yeah. My grandparents are from Lithuania. That's right.
Yeah, and I'm also always thinking about my grandfather, Stu, because he was in the 60s. He went also on a journey with unbelievable in Anatolia, in Turkey, with a horse, a car to the main road, and then with a little bus to the bigger village, with a bigger bus to Istanbul, and then 3.5 days in a train with people whom he never met before. And then he arrived in Germany on the same day with his luggage. He was chosen by a company where he had to start on the same day also. I think we can see what the generation of our grandfathers were able to do. And every time I'm now in the train and I'm complaining, sitting 4 hours on a very nice seat, I really think about my grandfather and I say to myself, shut up now, Murat, because he was 3.5 days with 5 other people. Was not complaining, but I really liked your story. Let's say it that way. But
yeah,
yeah.
I say the same with my wife, right? And we've also immigrated like my grandparents did, right? And it's same story, shut up, Stu. Times aren't that tough. You've got LinkedIn, social media, you've got Google Maps, right? Think about when our grandparents moved, they struggled to find their way around and they couldn't speak the language. So, yeah. But Murat, thank you. I mean, this is interesting. I didn't know this was going to be about me today. Otherwise, I would have prepared something. But so thanks for being on the podcast, and I'm excited to hear more about your journey. Tell us a little bit about your journey, all right? We obviously know that you're very high up and senior in EMR. How did you join EMR? Where were you before that, and what's the journey been like?
Yeah, I'm nearly since 30 years now in the metal recycling business now. I'm since 11 years with EMR. I was also a little shareholder of another recycling company with other partners, and that ended 2012. And I joined EMR. Yeah, it's already 11 years. It's unbelievable. Sometimes, I don't know, you start somewhere and you think, wow, this will be a lot of work and how to integrate and how can I do the work? How can I satisfy the owners and everything. And swoop, it's 11 years.
11
And you
years.
look back and you say, wow, how fast was that? But it's also my grandfather. He said, when time is running fast, it means you have fun, right? And I can only confirm it's very, very good 11 years what I have here at the moment. Yeah, this is. And
That's awesome.
I can't imagine any other jobs, too. I think you as well, right? I mean, look at this beautiful metals always.
You were bitten by the bug 30 years ago and never looked back. Hey, Murat, that's what happens to us all, I think.
And no day is the same. That's the beauty of our business. And that's what I always tell young people. They are a little bit shocked when I say this is metal recycling. We do recycled raw materials, which is scrap. And they say, scrap? And I say, yeah, but it's beautiful. Much better than anything else. And once I can convince them to visit our yards, they get this fever as well. But it is not easy to convince young people to come on a yard and to see the magic, what we already know. Because I always say, when you enter this recycling business, I think for 90% you will not leave it anymore because you really love what you do. And I can only confirm the last nearly 3 decades were a fantastic journey in my life. Even, on an open day for children, when we show recycling facilities to school children, I even love it to tell it to my children as well. They are excited seeing the big cranes and seeing the metals, The little one always thinks when he sees brass that it's gold. He comes to me and says, Daddy, I found gold. What should I do now?
I love that. Yeah. It's a full podcast on its own just to talk about culture and how we get the younger generation to join us and to actually stay. I really like what Dan Sard at Sard Metals is doing in America. I don't know if you see them at all, but the crew that they have, there is such a strong culture in that team. And I think more of us need to be bringing that through into our day-to-day business. And if we did, I think we would attract more of the next generation, actually them wanting to join us.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I can't agree more. We can be very proud about our industry. And I think the previous generations, they were a little bit more silent and more shy, I would say. We don't need to be shy, Stu. We do beautiful things. We do urban mining. We do sustainability as its best at the end of the day. And the job is also, besides our metal recycling business, to go to the schools, to go to these conventions of young people when they are searching new jobs, to show them what we do. And it's great. Every company, every colleague within my industry, but also here within the EMR, we do this, Stu. We invite school classes, we invite students, we invite everyone to see that we do what we say and say what we do at the end of the day. Meanwhile, a lot of people make advertisement that they are green. I haven't seen any advertisement on the television anymore where the companies are not saying they are green.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that 10 years ago, but our recycling always was. And I think this is something what we need to pinpoint as well when we meet young people, when we invite them, when we try to convince them, when we try to bring them the fire in their eyes. And I think podcasts like you do also, Stu, is also important to make people understand that we are proud of what we do. And it's not only a job, it means something for us. I mean, maybe this is now too emotional. I don't know, but I really can't imagine something else, to be honest.
I absolutely am here with you. I mean, something you touched on, which is we've been recycling for all this time. We were recycling before it was made cool, right? It's now so cool to be recycling. We've been doing it forever. So, something to definitely consider. But you spoke about previous generations being maybe not as open as the newer generations. When it comes to collaboration, I shout from the mountaintop that we should be working together. Is there any collaboration you've done over time that you can think of and maybe tell us a story about?
It's very simple. There is an old quote says, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And that says already everything. Or you can say, alone you might be faster, but you never get far. And I think you need teamwork at the end of the day. You need to work together. I think within our organizations too, particularly now with my EMR team here, the spirit of collaboration is ingrained in our approach. And we recognize that every member brings a unique set of talents and experience to the table. And by working together, we create kind of synergy that fuels innovation and problem solving. Collaboration has been, as a company, compass in navigating challenges and achieving success. And what I also like is where I am now is that everyone can stay authentic. That's also very important, because if you have to play a role, I have seen other examples, not only in our industry, but in other industries as well. When friends of mine, when they work for total other areas in other areas, they sometimes have to play a role, right, to fit into the organization. And I think in the moment where you change yourself and where you have to play a role, you're starting lying to yourself. And then you use already from your battery a certain energy to play this role. And then you're not anymore free to work with your colleagues and to build this teamwork. Yeah. But I would say with all the challenges we had, and we will, for sure, we will have, I can say that teamwork is so important, because no one knows everything. I don't know everything. You don't know everything, Stu. And it creates also a warm feeling when everyone is sitting on the table and trying to give solutions together. And they feel that in turbulent times like we have now, I would say we are coming from one storm to the other. It's the company and its culture which can give you a kind of safety feeling by working together, by finding solutions together. And when you feel well, that team spirit and the collaboration is working also much better.
Yeah. Murat, you touched on authenticity. So being authentic. I think that's so important. And to me, what I try and tell people all the time is you never know when somebody else is looking for somebody with your experiences. So if you're going to pretend to be something else, you might miss the opportunity to be yourself. Your experiences, which is your successes, your failures. Other people are going through their own journey. Own yours. So if you can, be as authentic as possible. I shout it as much as possible. But I think it's important, and it's great, and it's very good for culture as well, if you can be.
Beautiful said. I can't say it better.
So, Murat, tell me about some tough deals or some tough decisions that you've had to make in the past. You know, we all go through having to make tough decisions, and often we're in it. And when we're in it, it's quite hard to see the way through it. But speaking to people that have been through those sort of situations can often make you feel a lot better.
I wouldn't pinpoint now a specific business or a deal, but I think it's all about experiences, what we share now. And I think I would like to use the financial crisis 2008 as an experience. In the midst of the storm, I think the recycling industry faced an unbelievable journey, because for years, the business was growing. You were exporting recycled raw materials to Asia. You were riding the waves of a booming market. LME prices were rising between 2000 2008. I will never forget. You were buying something on a Monday. You kept it until Thursday. On a Friday, you sold it and you had profit. It
was incredible.
It was too easy, I would say, during that time for everyone. And the LME prices were rising because we had everyday new news coming up, right? And mostly it was about China's insatiable appetite for raw materials to fuel its rising economy. I mean, until the Olympic Games in 2008, even amid success, challenges emerged that put true essence of reliability to the test. And I think this is something what I can share with you, because I was always believing in a win-win relationship with the customer, right? I mean, quality and trust are paramount in my conviction. And then we saw 2008, the crisis, and the global economy stood still. I mean, it was really, how do you say, shrouded in distrust, right? And the simple remittance between banks turned into a difficult affairs. There was no confidence anymore, right? I mean, in the financial institutions, it all disappeared somehow. And in this dire climate, various sectors, including our recycling industry, faced a dramatic downturn, right? Contracts were canceled and negotiations were done to average out purchase prices. And it was leaving all of us in a very unsure situation. Yeah. And I found myself during this crisis traveling across Asia, and I tried to understand how safe are my contracts, and I think amidst the chaos, what we all faced, a heartwarming, how do you say, revelation greeted me. Around 90% of all my partners not only honored their contracts, but did so promptly without any delay. And it was a testament to their reliability, loyalty, integrity. Of course, I said, thank you to all my partners. But I said, how comes? Because I see around me also a lot of chaos. And their response was that I've been there for them whenever challenges arose. And that in times of trouble, I stood shoulder to shoulder, working hand in hand to find solution. And it was in those moments where I would say solidarity came up. Like, I always believe, Stu, if your supplier and you, or your customer and you don't have the good feeling in that business, and if not both of them can participate or win in this deal, it's not a good deal. And I think this situation, the 2008 crisis, taught me a profound lesson about reliability and its role in turbulent times. There is always a payback, a much bigger payback than on a short-term business things. Trust and reliability are not just commodities to be traded. They are essential. And trust is, how we say in German, it's the Klebstoff. Also, the trust is the glue of life, Stu. And it's not only in business, it's also in friendship. It's also with family. We too have beautiful families, Stu. We always exchange by WhatsApp.
Exactly.
Nice pictures, and I'm very happy for you as well. And without this trust, we wouldn't have a fundament where we can build something much bigger on it, right? And so if you ask me about the tough times and tough decisions, I would always recommend every tough situation is handleable, solvable, and you can always find a solution. And here also, because we talked about collaboration internally, and I said just before how important it is to work in a team and how happy I am to have a great team around me. But it's also to work together with your supplier and with your customer. It's the same collaboration. It's the same world what you need to protect by having trust with each other.
Yeah. So to summarize, you're saying to grow trust is really important. And it's probably what you realized through the 2008 crash was that trust and those relationships were so important during that time. So for anybody new in scrap, really to focus on the trust, and it'll get you through some really hard times if you're trusting your partner and your partner can trust you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That is obviously a tougher period in 2008 that we all went through. I think most of us remember it being extremely tough. I had just moved over to the trading desk in 2007, and I witnessed the buy on Monday, sell on Thursday, and make an absolute killing in between. Right? I think we learned nothing during that period. That's for sure. You couldn't learn because I think you learned more from failures, and there was no failures in that time.
I mean, I started in the 90s when LME was picking up $10. It was unbelievable. And then I have seen people who started in 2000 to 2001, 2002. And in their life, in their experiences, it was only one way, up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very, very difficult to explain them how dangerous it can be if you do not have your positions under control and if you do not care about all the details in your business. And it's because in their life was, what are you telling me?
You're missing out on opportunities. You're missing out because why are we covering it? It's just going up.
Yeah. Murat, you're always complaining, and I try to say in a very nice way that I'm very happy, of course, for individual traders, for my colleagues. But I said, it's not we who earn that money, it's the market actually. And we need to understand that this market can also show us the opposite. And I think that is a very, very important lesson as well. Yeah. It's the same at the moment, Stu, with all the crisis what we have, right? You sometimes think you're coming from one hurricane into the other. And It's also important now to do the opposite, to tell the people to stay motivated, to stay focused, to stay optimistic, because first of all, our industry is still growing. Our industry is now, one of the most important areas in the world, I would say, to secure raw materials. And it's now is the opposite, to motivate the people and to say, don't worry, the world will not stop turning. And it's about us to make this world a better place. It's about us to make good decisions, to go now and not to stay and to be afraid or whatever. No, it's now, I think we need to motivate the people. And I think 20 years ago, we didn't need to explain the people more. They said the trend is not only up, 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 but it was for nearly 8 years. It was an unbelievable situation, to be honest. It was very surreal for me as a young trader 20 years ago to see how fast things can happen, let's say it that way.
It was great life lessons as well. Taught you a huge amount that you could take forward. What would you say has been your career highlight if you were to choose one thing? And what do you think got you there?
I think the highlights in our business is when you are able to travel and when you are able to see different people from different areas, different countries, different religions, different believings, different languages. And I think that enriches us so much and can widen our horizon so much that for me, the highlight was to see so many beautiful people around the world and to be able to talk with them, to chat with them, to laugh with them, to be with them together and to understand this cultural sensitivity in a much better way. So I would say that is definitely a highlight in my life, in the business life. Yeah, of course, my family
Yes,
is
of course.
a real highlight.
Of course.
Yeah?
Well, at least now you've practiced, and I know you've got a lot of time before it happens, but you've practiced for your retirement speech when they ask you what was your highlight. You've got a lot of time, but now you've practiced. You know what you need to say.
But I think I don't want to retire. Actually, are you thinking about retiring or is it?
Absolutely not. No, I don't think I have that in me.
Yeah, to be very honest, I see already people who are retired. Yeah, they are getting older much faster than before.
Exactly right. That's exactly it. When you switch off your brain, I think your body goes next. So I think I'll be doing this or being very active for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
As long as we are healthy, Stu.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. And Murat, you've been around selling for 30 years. You've been on the trading side. When you sell into all these different markets and you've spoken to all the different countries you've been to, you've met with all the different buyers, you've obviously purchased a lot in your time as well. What should people be looking for when they're selling? How do they get the best price? How do they make sure to maximize on their trade when the scrap guys are selling on export?
Wow, that's a good question. I think there is not one single answer to this question. I think you need to find the right partner. I think you did also share this on your LinkedIn profile, the 10 lessons of a scrap trader, right? When you said that it's still a people business, right? I think you have to choose wisely. There are basic things I would always recommend: research and due diligence, right? Research the new buyers before you enter in any agreement. Check the financial stability, reputation, industry, past business dealings. I think this will help you to gauge their credibility and minimize your risk potential, what you could have. Communication and clarity. Be always clear how you communicate. Your payment terms, methods, contracts, agreements, samples, insurance when you ship something out or deliver something out, documentation, compliance. That becomes with ESG, of course, more and more important, as we know, because exporting or dealing often involves complex documentation and regularity requirements. So ensure that you're compliant with all relevant laws and regulations in both in your and also in the buyer's country. Accurate, complete documentation is essential, right? Is cultural sensitivity. I think there's a lot of things where you can watch out, right?
So, Murat, what about on the because obviously it's a lot of exporting we're talking about. On the foreign exchange side, do you guys hedge your currency when you take a sale?
Management, it goes without saying, Stu, especially when you deal in different currencies, you have to hedge your position. You never know. But look at the moment when the central banks are increasing the interest rates, when one information or one news comes after the other about the Eurozone, about USA, about China's real estate situation. So you can't predict the currency. So you need to hedge that, of course, or your metal position. That's why I always recommend mid-sized family companies or small companies in our sector, find a reliable and good partner who can do all this work, as we said, documentation and hedging and everything for you, because I think it's also you who wrote in the LinkedIn, sorry, because I love your 10 lessons, because we have a similar in German, because you said also the money is made in the buying, right? And
Absolutely.
the sales side, be sure that you have a good partner, be sure that you have a reliable partner. And the exporting companies, most of them are on the bigger size, they fulfill all this service, right? They hedge the position, they hedge the currency, they do the documentation, they make all the service about compliance, the regulations. I would always say find a good partner and do it via them, because you should focus. And I'm talking now about the mid-size or small company. This is just my recommendation, because they have experiences, let's say that way, which are decades and where you could also profit from, right?
I think there's an argument which I've heard, and I might believe as well, that you can get a better net back price if you handle that all yourself. It comes with a catch, though, that you then have to actually have a team that can handle all of the other stuff that you've just said. But I was quite surprised to hear of certain players in the market, say small to medium, that sell to end users in different currencies and don't actually hedge their currency at the time of sale. And that's why I asked you the question, because I come from South Africa where the currency is extremely volatile, and you'd be crazy ever to not hedge your currency there. Moving to New Zealand, a lot of people don't, because for a very long time, the New Zealand dollar has been pretty flat. Exactly. Although that has changed over the last few years. And even here, a lot of people don't hedge their currency. And I was quite surprised about that. That's why I asked you. So it's good to hear that you're also a strong believer that you should definitely lock in your currency.
No, and it's also not easy for a lot of colleagues in my industry. We talk about that, but which forward curve do you take? Until which month do you hedge? When is the money really arriving? That's why I say, if you do only few businesses, and it will be very complicated to estimate the accurate time when the currency comes in on your account and when it will be changed, or when the position at the LME can be switched back, or, all this backwardation contango situations you need to consider as well. If you are not familiar with these hedging tools, that's why I said search a good service partner to whom you can sell in your country. It looks always very easy, because meanwhile with the communication it's very easy to get in touch with people. That's true, but the devil is always in the details, Stu. And so don't think that it's very easy, like entering a restaurant and to order a menu or whatever, that this business can happen. So, it's watch out, I can always say.
It's often like walking into a restaurant and ordering something in another language. So you can very easily get that wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the steak, but I wanted to have
it. Exactly right. And you've been doing this for 30 years. How have you seen the industry change since you started?
Well, it changed a lot. It changed definitely a lot. I mean, when I started in the 90s, it was more localized companies. There were not so many global players on the market. And then, of course, during 2000 to 2008, it was a total different market again. Metallurgy was, the knowledge of metal alloys and everything was very, very important in the 90s, because you were dealing with the foundries around you and you were not really aware of what's happening at the other side of the world. Between 2000 and 2008, that was a little bit different with the rise of China, of course. Then this sorting in the different alloys were a little bit disappearing. I mean, I have seen containers with mixed brass, honey, and brass noble and hair wire together in containers, what we never did before, right? But I think this pendulum swung back again. And we see now again that the alloy, the sorting again is coming back. And that is essential for the producers here in Europe. Yeah, that is a key for success. And also here, I can only recommend search a good partner who knows about all these things and who can make the best out of your metals at the end of the day. And who's,
it's about getting that premium, right? So if you're sorting correctly, that's where you make the extra.
That's where you can add value, of course. And you know, it's not easy. We talk about that, but many companies, many colleagues of us in this industry, they only have 5 tons of this or 4 tons of that, etc. That's why there are the bigger companies there to give you this help or to have a win-win together, let's say that way.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think the industry will look like in 10 years' time?
Oh, if I know that.
You'd be retired, although you're not retiring.
No, I hope not. I mean,
you'll be on your yacht.
First of all, dear Stu, I hope that you and me, we are still healthy, right? And we enjoy our life. And when we can see our kids growing up, this is, I think, very, very important. And I don't know. I mean, we see technology-wise in the last years, huge developments. I don't know if the yards in 10 years will be full of robots whizzing around and sorting as accurate as, let's stay in the example of a restaurant, as a main chef sorting is vegetable, or maybe the bins will be picked up by drones and delivered to your door or whatever. I don't know. There are a lot of good things which I can see. And if we talk about the recycling industry, I see a very bright future. And I think people will be more conscious about environmental footprint and recycling become an integral part of their daily lives. And governments and businesses in 10 years will be fully on board. Not like now where we're getting regulations which do not fit to the reality. They will also offer much more incentives for responsible recycling practices and innovation. So I think, this is what I can see.
You spoke about robots in the yard. I saw the other day, somebody showed me how they are using AI right now to grade frozen pizzas. So the frozen pizza manufacturer, he's got thousands coming off the product line on a daily basis. And they've got to grade how much tomato sauce, how much cheese, and how it's all spread. And it straight away made me think, we're going to have grading machines on all of our front scales in the next few years, and they'll be telling us whether we're buying it correctly or what we should be paying for the material. I can see that happening.
And it's cool. Getting so fast. I mean, are you able to follow every trend at the moment?
I don't think anybody can. I do love it, though. I'm all over it as much as possible. I love Murats Journey. I live in ChatGPT. I do try and keep up to date with the tech, but you can't keep onto all the trends. There's just too many. And AI is just speeding up everything. So, it's crazy.
That is really crazy, and that's true. That's true.
And then, Murat, who are the people you are watching that are doing some interesting stuff over the next few years?
I mean, in our dynamic world of recycling, it is truly inspiring to see many industry players which are pushing somehow boundaries and embracing innovative approaches, right? And I have really tremendous respect for all recycling companies too, and my fellow recycling colleagues who contribute tirelessly to making our planet greener each day. Let's not forget, you are investing into a technology today. If you're lucky, you get this by 2 years delivered, the machine, but you don't know if this machine still fits as a solution to the products what you want to recycle at the end of it. So I think the industry is doing really, really great. From my perspective, I'm really proud of what EMR is doing. We're really committed to consistently exploring new horizons and implementing unique strategies that drive positive change. I think our dedication to staying at the forefront of recycling innovation has led us to remarkable initiatives such as battery recycling, which just opened in Hamburg now, in Germany, and or the development of the reusable spare parts like myauto.com. One significant thing of EMR is the ambitious promise to achieve net zero status by the year 2040. So I think, of course, we're watching, we're looking, but I would really say, and it should not sound arrogant, but we are very focused in what we do. We watch the market and we watch the products which are getting more and more complex. I think as a collective force, the recycling industry is continuously evolving and driven by shared goal to make a positive impact on our environment.
I don't think that's arrogant. I think to not keep an eye on the shepherds would be crazy. I think what EMR is doing is very exciting. So you're definitely on my list of people I'm watching on a daily basis and just learning from and keeping an eye on is really.
But I wouldn't say there is one single great company. I think there are many, many great companies and many great cultures in our industry. And it makes really fun to see them at conventions like at BIR or your national conferences. And I believe it's worth keeping an eye on the efforts of all recycling companies and professionals. At the end of the day, we create something more sustainable for generations to come. So it's always worth to keep an eye on it.
Murat, thanks so much. This has been great. I do like to end with 5 quick questions to get to know you a little bit better so we can all relate to you. And when we see you at the conference, if you gave us your favorite movie that's similar to ours, and we'll come and tell you. So we'll start with, what's your favorite TV series or movie?
Well, I do not watch TV.
Okay.
Oh, rare. No, the only thing what I'm now watching is documentation about animals with my children.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm not anymore that much looking television or series, to be very honest. My last movie was with friends, Indiana Jones, the last one, which was a little bit weird because, besides, I don't want to spoil it now, but
close your ears if you don't want to hear how it ends.
He ended up in 2000 years before time or whatever. I don't know. We didn't understand that film very good. No, so we like to go to cinema. We have only one television in our house, which is, I would say, 95% off. And like yesterday, we have seen some documentation about penguins, actually. If you know that.
Well, if you like wildlife documentaries, I think we'll have to meet on safari in South Africa with the family. I'll take you to a couple of beautiful ones there. It was my wife and I, it was our favorite thing to do when we lived there.
Okay.
So maybe we'll take the family there sometime.
I can't.
Okay. What is your favorite place to visit?
My favorite place to visit, I think in a world which is filled with remarkable destinations, we know historic streets of Rome, romantic charm, Paris, New York, Hong Kong. My personal city is, what I really love is Istanbul. It's a connection between Europe and Asia somehow. But I would not pinpoint now one city or one area because that would be unfair. But I think I know one place what you also prefer as the best place to be, Stu. Or guess
at home. At home with my kids.
Home with your kids. I would say the world of our children in general, right? I mean, they have so inspiring ideas and they are pure. They have still magic in their thinking. And, they remind us of the simple pleasures in life, encouraging us to embrace joy, imagination, boundless wonder, in their world. I just saw it yesterday again, a cardboard box can be a spaceship to the moon, and full of dirt can be something magic, magic powder or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think they lead us by hand, showing us the path to relish every moment and to embrace the power of imagination. And I have seen lately parents with a child in the supermarket, and the child wanted to show something in the supermarket, but as we are all, stressed in the supermarket, we just want to make it faster, go away. Yeah. Parents were also somehow taking the child, saying not now, but I think it's exactly that moment where you have to say, okay, show me what you mean, show me what you would like to teach me or whatever, because I think that is the danger of our today's life. Everything gets faster and faster, But I think to be happy, it's much more simple things. And I think here we need to watch out that we do not forget these things, what the children have. We need to find the little child in ourselves again. Let's say it that way.
We're so often searching for happiness elsewhere when it's often right in front of us, right?
Yeah, you know from Paulo Coelho, the book. I mean, like where he's the alchemist, where he's searching. You know, he's going from home and searches everywhere in the world, and then where is he coming back finally? Where he started.
Straight back to where he was. 100%.
And I think this is something so beautiful. What we sometimes forget to see, and children are angels reminding us about this beautiness.
Yeah.
We only have this one life, Stu. So
exactly, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
This is meant to be a quick fire round, but you're making it really enjoyable and and emotional. So it's going to go on a little bit longer. You don't watch movies, but do you read books? Sounds like you do. The Alchemist, great book. What's your favorite book?
Yeah, I think one of real great books are from Yuval Noah Harari, *Sapiens*. You know that?
I've been recommended it. I've never read it, actually.
I think it's a very great book because it's a brief history of humankind, and Harari surveys the history of humankind from the Stone Age up to the 21st century, and focusing on Homo sapiens. And it shows us that we are all the same, no matter what religion or origin is. And he did it in a very beautiful way, which is also an eye-opener, let's say that way, not to forget that we are all the same in the world. And, sometimes people try to separate us by saying they are different. We are not, Stu. We are all the same. We are all the same. And the best practice is, again, with the children in the kindergarten. They don't care from where you come or whatever.
Exactly.
They just want to play. And if you are not the right play friend, then they say, okay, the next place.
Do you have a favorite quote?
There are many quotes, but
you've given us a few already today.
Yeah, I think my grandfather he was a very wise man, in my opinion, and maybe the most intelligent man I ever met. And because, he was always calm, and he took all the journey, on his shoulders, decades ago, and worked very hard. But he had always the right quote for me when there was trouble. What he always told me is, I am always telling this also to my children, is every morning when I wake up, I tell my children, now, wake up now. It's a new day with new chances, with new opportunities. A few weeks ago, my eldest child, he came to me and said, wake up, Daddy. It's a new day with new chances, new opportunities. And I think this is something what I always loved of him when he said that. And another thing is, he said in Turkish, there is a saying that if you search, you are on the wrong way when you search. You just have to find. And it took me ages to understand him because I'm not that clever like him. But what he tried to teach me is that when you search something, you are already not anymore open-minded because you search. When you just say, hey, let me find something, you're very open-minded for the world, for everything what is left and right of us. And I think what he tried to tell me is not to block my mind with a single thing or whatever, but to stay open, friendly, welcoming to whomever, whatever it is. And I like these two quotes, what he told me. Let's say that way.
Yeah, that's excellent. I often find that when I'm doing nothing important is when I get the best ideas. So if you sit around trying to come up with a solution, often it's best to just go out the house, go for a walk the dog, whatever it might be, go for a run, whatever you enjoy doing. And that's often when something comes to me. So that's probably my favorite time to come up with any sort of good ideas, is just decide I'm not going to think of any. But I tell you what, I look forward to at the BIR sitting with you and learning from each other and just having a good chat about life. And I'm sure there'll be a whole lot of gems that'll come to both of us.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like
exactly a plan. Right.
You're inviting me for the first beer then.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Deal.
On that note, Murat, it's been amazing hosting you on Born Scrappy. I've enjoyed every second that we've spent here chatting. I look forward to a whole heap of more discussions in person. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay.